So we're going to go over the new Pro model clear version of the Suckit dust boot. I do want to say a big thank you to Suckit for actually sending me this one to try out. I've been using their product for almost a year now, using the old model, the 3D printed version, and they were actually kind enough to send me the new one to try out with the metal rails and the clear boot. So we're going to go over a few of the differences in the old one and the new one, and then I'm going to show assembling the new one and actually assembling it or putting it on the machine. So this one is more centric to the Shapeoko 3. It's the machine that I use. That's the kit that they sent me. Most of the setup of the unit is pretty much the same on both of them. So we're going to run through that. I'm going to show you a quick video at the end of me using it, but actually being used, so you can see the dust being sucked up, which is the biggest benefit of the clear one, is you can actually see what's going on underneath the dust boot. So stick around and we'll go through the differences and what I like about the new one. Alright, so we're going to go over some of the new features, some of the differences between the original Suckit dust boot, or the first one that they sent me, which this is the upgraded model from their original one. So this is the directional flow model with the acrylic mounts, and then going to the new clear dust boot with aluminum mounts, or I'm guessing these are aluminum. So this is the Pro model. So we're looking at the Pro model. So starting out with the original, so we're going to slide the old one over, and then we're going to go over what all comes in the kit too with the new one. So the original model, so what you're going to get, so it's going to come with the dust shroud, with the brush. It all comes separate, just like you see in the new kit. So you'll apply that on. It's got a base plate. This one only came with a single size base plate. So as you can see, so I think that's that's roughly 1 1/4 inch, if it'll focus. Never mind, that's all right. So it's roughly 1 1/4. So go into the new one, so you get one of the 1 1/4, you get 2 of the 1 1/4, roughly 1 1/4, and then one much larger that is almost 2 inches. So that's for much larger bits. So I guess you're going to use this for your servicing bits and the like. So the old one, the old directional boot, which I can say works phenomenally. I've been using this for almost a year now, a little under, about 8 months, and it's made a huge difference in dust collection in the shop. It is 3D printed, so you can see, I can get in here a little closer if it'll focus, so you can see the print lines. So it is a 3D printed model. The new one is all clear acrylic. For the most part, the legs are identical. Looks like they've changed out the size of this back piece that holds the rail, or that holds the guide for your dust boot. So other than that, the sizes, so the Pro is a little bit longer, which shouldn't affect anything. I mean, it's a 1/4 inch longer. It locks in magnetically, so this will mount to your CNC, and then it locks in just like that, so it holds in magnetically. It's easy to take on and off. So it's got a little dust in it. So that's the two biggest things. So that's the two units. So you have spacers to go between the rails and the mount on your CNC. Now this unit itself is set up for the Shapeoko 3. So that's the machine that I run, is the Shapeoko 3. So let's go into what you get all in the kit. So we're going to go ahead and set the old one aside, and we'll see what all comes in the kit. So, like I said, you get your metal rails with the acrylic legs, which these are actually thinner. So you can see the difference. These are actually a lot smaller than the older units, which, so you get that. So there is, these are the spacers. These actually go in behind. So you can see they'll actually sit right there, so that brings it off the mounting plate on your machine. So there's your dust boot. These are the magnetic attachments for the machine. Looks like they actually send you 2 extra of these pieces that mount on the back. I know some people in the past have had issues with these pieces breaking. What I found, you don't have to over tighten these. Just tighten them down enough to hold it in place. It's not gonna go anywhere. Because the thing is, this brush is actually gonna sit right on the top of your material. So you don't have to have a lot of pressure holding it in place, because it's gonna sit there and drag itself around. So you don't have to over tighten these. You don't manhandle them. So the cool thing about the new, what they've done for improvement on the dust boot is they've actually added, so you can see on the old one, they just had a straight pass through right there. The new one does too, but they also include this piece that locks in place, and so that right there closes that in. So you can see that closes that end piece in, which for me will make a big difference, because there's a lot of times if it's dragging this way, if the machine, if the CNC is pulling this way, it's blowing stuff out that way. So that'll actually stop and actually help improve dust collection quite a bit. So you get in it, so these are your, you can't really see them because of the white background. These are the stickers that go along the rails. So as you can see in that, so you can adjust your heights correctly on either side. You have 2 different sizes as far as the brush. I doubt I will use the larger one, just because for me, I like the thinner ones work great on the old unit, and it gets the suction down closer to what you're working on. I'm gonna just hold on to it for a later day. So if I ever do trash this one, I've got a backup. It's got, so in the box, you get thank you card. So thanking you for your purchase. It's got the website you can go to, which I will link down below, which will actually help you with install of your dust boot. Comes with packs of mounting screws. Comes with the screws to mount. Jeez, you can't see them here. Adjust that. So these are all the screws you need to mount the bottom plate, and then the magnetic locks to the side. So those are in there. Get a few little stickers in it, and then of course your safety manual. So that's pretty much it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through and put together this unit. So we're going to walk through setting this unit up, and then we're actually going to go back to the CNC and put the new unit on. So we've already pulled the old unit off. We're going to go and put the new unit on and get it set up.
All right, so start off by peeling the protective plastic off the bottom of the acrylic panels. It's 2-sided, so just peel either side off, and it just makes it easier, so once it's installed, you don't have to peel them off, because the screws do get in the way. So as far as the screws to hold on this bottom panel, they're the smallest Allen head key screws, or Allen screws. Hand tighten them, don't over tighten them, because you can break out the threaded inserts. If you want, put a dab of Loctite on them. I've only had one fall out the whole time I've been using the old unit. So I went back and put Loctite on all of them just so they don't come out. Use the blue so it's not permanent. It's, makes it easier to pull them out if you ever need to change out that acrylic piece. All right, so installing the dust brush, start tight up against one side, work it all the way around the unit. It's going to be a little snug going in, just because it's a brand new brush and it's been used to laying flat, so you got to make it conform to the unit itself. So just take your time, it's going to fit. All right, the last bit, what you're going to want to do, what I found helps me, is take a flathead screwdriver or get one of the Allen keys just to push that last little bit in. Like I said, it's going to be a snug fit, and you want it to be a snug fit. All right, so now we're going to install the magnetic rails on the side. Depending on your unit, you can adjust it up and down. What I found works best for me on the Shapokos is having it aligned all the way to the back of the unit. And again, just hand tighten these. You don't need to over torque them. I've never had one fall out. I even checked the unit when I pulled it off, and they weren't even loose. So you should never have any issues with it. And if you feel like you need to, again, put a little dab of Loctite on it just for, peace of mind. All right, and then after this, just put the hinge plate on the front just to seal the dust shroud all the way up. And the dust boot is done. And it just locks in with 2 magnetic clips. All right, so onto the guide rail. So now we're going to put the level stickers on. The easiest way that I found, pull the guide off, clean it with some rubbing alcohol, and then apply it with suckit facing the bottom. Make sure it's aligned with the bottom of the unit. As you can see in the second one, I actually don't take the guide rail off, and it actually made it a little harder to put the sticker on. I got it. It's not perfectly straight up and down. It is aligned with the bottom of the unit, so that's really all that matters. Other than that, it's just more aesthetics for me. All right, and now that that's done, we're ready to put it on the machine. All right, so start by unbolting the homing switch plate. So you're going to use the bolts included in the kit to attach the mounting hardware. So it's just this top 4 bolts that you see there. So you're going to actually see I did make a mistake. I go back in and correct it before we're done. What I did is I forgot to put the spacer blocks in that actually keep the guide rails off of the Z-axis plate. And without them, the Z-axis is going to drag up and down, and it's going to interfere and cause problems with your cuts. So I realized it right about here when I try to lower that block. And let's go ahead and pull it back off and put the spacers in place. Now on these, I know on everything else I said don't over tighten it, don't torque it down. These I would tighten them down pretty good. You don't want these rails moving, you don't want them coming loose over time. And this also holds your homing switch in place. So you don't want that homing switch to move. There's a little bit of play in the switch itself, but you want it to be as tight as it possibly can. So there you go. Just put those spacers in, tighten everything down. Again, make sure you're not cross-threading anything. So tighten it down, good and tight, not overly tight. All right, and then as far as putting the dust boot on, so it just slides in to these rails, and there you go. So level it out, make sure it's good to go, and it's in. Alright, so if anybody's interested in purchasing their own dust boot, just go to suckitdustboot.com. They do make this model for the X-Carve and Shapoko 3s, and I think a few other machines. Special thanks to Mark and Jen for sending me out this unit to test out. I am thoroughly enjoying it. And if you watch this video in the next week, check out my Instagram because we're going to be doing a giveaway for the 3D printed model. And thank you for watching the video.